Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Autopsy with Maddee P. I'm your host, Maddee P. Girl. Hey. Hey. How y'all doing? Why am I hiding behind this? So, nice to see you again, Queen. Sorry that I had that shit fest last week. Sorry about all the tears, or am I? Not really. So far this morning, I talked to my finance brother. Literally, he's a finance bro and my bro. And needless to say, I'm feeling really smart, really IRA-like. So I'm hoping this goes well. I'm hoping that equals organization in my brain through the juxtaposition with my brother. Not juxtaposition. Through being catty corner with my brother, I received more smarts and organization and brain skills. Okay? Telepathically through Google Meets. Steak Meets. Google Meets. I keep using the meat emoji for Google Meets, and I know it's causing him to seize out because he's like smart for real. And I'm like, oh, Google Meet emoji? Anyway. Woo. You know, I think I black out for a few minutes every time we open. And it's causing some distraction because where the fuck am I right now? And all I can hear in my head is, come to the side of the things that I tried were in my life just to get high on. It kidding me, when will I really see all that I need to look inside? Jump from the rope. We can't play that shit today because guess what happens? This is the goal. Are you ready? First of all, I'm wearing a bathing suit. We know it's summer. Stop bothering me. I am racing against my battery and my storage on my camera. And I've got 4 pages of notes to go through with you. What are we talking about today? First, cheers. Cheers. Cheers to you. Happy New Year. You know, one thing I love about being a woman is that, like, I'm trying right now. Hello. Did you see those two things connected now? Anyways. Is that I'm doing great on my own. I'm setting myself up for a future, and I'm thinking about my kids. And can I tell y'all a secret right now? Part of my savings, I'm worried that I'm going to have to get a sperm donor because y'all ain't cutting this shit. Y'all ain't cutting shit. Okay? And so I'm like, oh, wait. Where are my headphones? Oh, my God. I was wondering why I was like, why am I so fucking loud? This makes sense. That and you could see that's better. What am I doing? That and you can see the grease in my hair, which I left it down because I'm going to the pool. And I don't need to tell you the whole reason, but the headphones are supposed to cover it. And I'm like, I looked up and I'm like, why is shiny dough? Why the head shiny? So anyways, getting my life set up, yada, yada. And you know, I'm worried that I'm going to have to inevitably get a sperm donor, which I hope not. Okay, I hope not. But you know, I think about my life, my future life, my kids' life, okay? And then I'm like, bruh, I'm going to have good finances, but then hopefully I'm going to meet a rich daddy. So it's like triple, quadruple. Because let me tell you, as a boss bitch, I presume that the other man is a boss man. Boss biatches. Okay? I say with a fidget spinner in my hand. Spinner. A fidget spinner. So warm-ups. My stomach kind of hurts a little bit. It's that female trickery, bruh. You never know when a yak's coming. Yak attack. You don't know. I wrote Ginny and Georgia on here. And I don't want to talk about it. But do you guys hate Ginny and Georgia too? Because what the fuck, Ginny? Have some respect. I already posted a TikTok about this, so I feel like I've already indulged the internet in my podcast. That was my mom. You know how I know that? It was my mom before I looked. Because she's a special ringtone. And you know why she's a special ringtone? For back when I used to be on a bar at a party in 2016. So I knew if my phone was blowing up that it was my mutter. And she still has that special ringtone to this day. Used to get it, there were several years in between before like moving back where I would get like PTSD, but now I get so many damn calls from her because we're navies and besties. So, and I love my mother, so it doesn't bother me. But I used to get PTSD when I heard that ringtone. I'd be somewhere and be like, bro, where is she? I ain't even gonna come find me right now. So yeah, that, thank God that distracted me from Ginny and George, which means you don't have to talk about it. Now, Charleston sharks. What's in the water? Literally. So recently, alleged, there is a lot of sharks infesting our Charleston waters. I just felt like throwing that in because that's like something you should know about before you go swimming. So I'm not sure if they're spawning up or what the fuck is going on. Which reminds me, if we want to have a fun fact, we haven't done a fun fact in a while. Moray eels, we don't know where they come from. They just come from somewhere. They leave and they go mate somewhere, and we don't know where. Right? I believe I'm correct on this. And I don't have much time to be Googling shit because we got a lot to get to, and Miss Girl, my camera, loves having conniption fits. Moray eels. Fuck. Who the fuck is Myra? Can this plane crash? Lay eggs. Got that. Got that. But where? Where? The saltwater? Really? Oh, Google thinks you're funny. You think you're fucking funny. Said saltwater. Okay. Now you're just being smart. Google. Eat that. Okay. Enough of this shit. Alleged go to deeper oceanic waters, and they literally call it spawning, which I guess they do a lot of animals, but like it gives me the energy like they just came up somewhere. And then oh, you want to talk about some shit? So with the sharks, I had a conspiracy theory at work, which I think is right. Okay, so we're like all the shark shit coming on. Guess what it is? The sharks are the aliens. The aliens are coming out of the ocean to save and or kill us. Hopefully save for me, because I'm one of them. Hopefully and allegedly. Alleged. So, that's my take on the Charleston Sharks. And that's all I have to say. That's on that. And then, vape update. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I vape at work all the time. Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you want to hear? Because it's a 10-year addiction. We talk about it every single week, don't we? Ever since I started to quit is what I've started to do. I've started to quit. And we've talked about it every week. And yeah, I hit a vape at work every night. But I refuse to have one in my home or on a day-to-day basis. And I am still fidgeting. Still fidgeting. It's a 10-year addiction. Grow up. I miss it right now. Don't even remind me. Why are you reminding me? Why did you ask me that question? Rude, invasive, moving on. Quote of the week. Creep. Come to the side of the thing that I try. Being sober is its own kind of rebellion. While I'm going through all these dystopian novels, I thought that was the perfect quote for us. It is its own kind of rebellion. And that's what, like, I touched on that one time talking about, like, biting the bullet and just the maturity. It's like a rebellion against self, you know? And we don't experience a lot of that. So when we rebel against ourselves, we think we're following other norms, you know, which we are kind of. But it's important that we all have a little rebellion in us in recovery because we're crazy. And, like, I need to do cheeky things. So I'm clearly doing much better than I was doing last week. Sorry about that. Sorry. So I thought it'd be fun to divulge some things that I have done. It has literally been only a week of time. This is why I think I have BPD, because do you see what's happening here? But I have been doing some intense work. This is a little bit over a week, actually, okay? Yeah, over a week. So been doing some very intense work around everything. And I thought it'd be fun to take last week's episode and discuss what we do in sobriety when we're feeling down, when we're having issues, when we're questioning ourselves, questioning our future, questioning people around us, okay? All these questions, one tiny girl. What do we do, right? So we're going to go through some of that today. And then I just kind of wanted to keep it a little bit like, because in reality, all of that, all the questions I had rewatching the video and stuff, it is a reflection of me balancing my life of being young and keeping my eye on the prize of sobriety and the FOMO and, like, you know, like that deal. That's what we're aiming for today. I'm sorry. I'm like stimming bad. Like when I rewatched the video, obviously editing it, and then I rewatched parts of it just to make sure it wasn't as horrible as I thought and to make sure I didn't need to delete it from the internet. This close. And the main takeaway was balancing being young and being sober. I was clearly struggling with that. That has been a struggle for me as I'm somebody that struggles to fit in. as I've talked to you about, as you know about, that was with alcohol. Okay. So imagine my life without it. What it made me realize is if I'm going to balance my life being young, my life being sober, I need to basically reevaluate what matters to me and my happiness, because I wasn't shooting for one goal. I was shooting to please others. And when we balance being young and being sober, that kind of needs to go off the table. And it takes a while, and it takes experimentation. It takes working with yourself, not against yourself. And kind of like the push and pull antics with our brain and FOMO and being young. And it's low-key scary, low-key hard. And so I think for me, I recognized, I'm like, wait, what do I want though? And what are my views in life? What am I aiming towards? And what do I actually give a fuck about? And that's really important because it connects us with other people, but it shows us where we don't belong in life. And even though we're sober, even though we think we love ourselves, we have this shit all together, we need to fit in somewhere, and we will butt our head all the way in there. At least I will. And having a goal of what I'm aiming to care about, or like, I know what I care about, a goal of aiming to that be the only thing I am productive towards. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm not wasting my time, wasting my energy on these very real things that are normal for other 25-year-olds, but are not my business anymore. And I have nothing to do with. And it feels like how we talked about like the throbbing kind of aches and stuff that addiction leaves behind. That same goes with like FOMO and with, how we view life. And the fact that big chunks are missing that aren't missing for other people, and we're searching for those chunks. Now, how much I care about my future is obviously debilitating. You guys watch me deal with it, the push and pull all the time with that, okay? How am I going to fit that also into my life? Which is its whole own question, which is I saw pain flicker all over my body when I watched myself talk about it a little bit. And the way that I'm trying to fit my future into my current life. And it's just like, they don't mesh together, babe. Stop trying to make them one. I think it's because I just want to get to the next point. Like, I feel like I've done my work. That's what I feel like. Well, that's what she last week was portraying for us. Okay. That's not true. I can't feel that way. Subconsciously, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be fixed. I wanted to be at the end already. And I'm forgetting the whole part of the journey, which is what life is, essentially. Is it not? And something I learned from you guys, actually. The point of my life is for today. Is to literally just exist and be Maddee. That's the point of my life. And I learned that from you. Love you. So moving forward, how does my future, how do these certain ideals fit into my life in a way that's productive and coincides somewhat with the same logic and thinking of other people, my fellows, my peers, because I want to fit in with them and I want to be normal in a lot of capacity. But more so, what did I see on that screen? A girl pained by not being the same. What does that mean? That's a girl that can't accept herself for some reason, was being insecure. I was having a rough week. We all know. I have my goes. Okay? I struggle, dare I say, a bit of depression. Dare I say it? I know last week I'm like, I refuse to say it. It's not depression. I'm sad forever. But that's why I get those stuff. That's why I loved it and decided to put it on the internet because it's so real. So real. Moving on. Like the branding of the frame of my life and how it looks is uber important from here on out. And the whole drinking situation that I talked about where I want to drink. And I think that's an underlying feeling that we deal with, obviously, in addiction and alcoholism because, it's an easy fix. And I think we grow out of it down the road. I haven't quite grown out of it. But sometimes when things go really bad, you think to yourself, I can just drink. And you know what is kind of messed up? I don't know if I should say this. It's kind of messed up. I feel like for me, with my addiction, my alcoholism, it almost is a saving grace because we are wired a little more depressy. Are we not? You watched me last week, a little more sad. We are wired a little different. And so like, fuck my sobriety before fuck my life, before I ruin my life, which is the same thing. And that's messed up. It was a thought that had nothing to do with anything. That was just a thought. What I took away too during this little bit of journaling and trying to figure out my problems was that in my soul, I did leave a door open. There was a door open for my relationship with alcohol, and that was truly what was going on, or what I think, amongst other reasons. I needed to fully shut the door. on alcohol in a closure way where I understand push comes to shove that just doesn't exist. It's as if I live in a world where alcohol is not real, and I need to understand that at my core. And I have been through parts of my life in my recovery where I don't feel that way. I don't feel like alcohol is an option. I don't feel like it's part of my life, part of anyone's life. But on the inside, and I think most addicts, alcoholics can part with this, there was a little part of me that left that relationship open, that could not just turn off and shove away alcohol. Because the thought of life must just be that painful at that time for me. And I think, of course, above all, these are all indicators of a sick person. And these are all indicators of somebody who's not being spiritually fit. And sometimes it's hard when we're sad, when we're going through a difficult time, to stay in our work, to trust that it all works out. And we lose sight and it gets a little difficult. And that definitely happened to me. And I thought that I was in my work. I thought that I was in my meetings. I thought I was working my program the way that I have always worked my program. But I indeed kind of wasn't. And we talked about that a million times. The guilt of moving forward in our program in a way that we didn't used to, or having to understand this new way of recovery, not in the way we used to. And then we feel guilt for it because we're not the same childlike, wonder-filled person that walked into recovery. But pink clouds pop. They're made to pop, and those bubbles pop, and it's just not real. And it's not all like candy canes and wonder and joy, and that's okay. And so we feel empty. Didn't pick up a drink though. That's all that matters. That's why I'm fine with leaving that shit on the internet. That's why I'm fine with me crying and saying I'm depressed and saying all this shit. I didn't drink though. And that shows a lot of brute force. And that shows other women, other people that no matter what happened to me, I might be crying, I might be freaking out, I might have turned away from my program, I might have turned away from loving myself or from these deep ideals that I built. I didn't touch a fucking drink. So period, I won. And I tell y'all all the time, that's how I have to, and that's a new kind of frame of mind that I'm introducing again back into my life that seemed to work before, is I won. And that is what's most important, day in and day out. The way that my life looks, when we talk about reframing my ideas, reframing my life, reframing what this is supposed to look like for me, and it's winning every day. And it's not only winning, it's celebrating that win. At the end of the night, you didn't drink. And that's a big deal. And I don't think we remember that. We're like, of course you didn't drink, you fucking dumbass. Sometimes in recovery, I'd hear stuff and but you didn't drink though. Ha ha. Oh my God, so good. And I'm like, are you not supposed to? Fucking dumbass. You know what I mean? And that's not, we need to celebrate those things. And if that's how I bring that joy back into my life, then that's how I do it. So that's definitely something I'm implementing again, is being cheerful daily for these little wins, and for being in recovery, and for winning triumphantly over my mind. And the fact that I didn't abuse myself so badly. Y'all watched how I was down bad. I was able to flip it and recover, throwing the pin, in a way that I still love myself. And I don't feel deteriorated on the front of ego and my issues with insecurity that I battled. Thank God. I thought I was going to sit down and go to write and get all my feelings out and just be like, I fucking hate her, by the way. But I don't, thank God. That would have been exhausting. Y'all know how I feel about the fucking confidence thing. It's so much. It's such a journey. And I have to go back to it all the time, as most people do. So wait, what was the point of that? I just got so off track. I left a door open for alcohol. I cannot be out and about, and part of me at all belongs to alcohol or exists with it, because that's how my brain is going to function. And once I think, when you first leave, get into recovery, you first leave alcohol, your brain is on alcohol. So you're in a room at a bar, or even at a restaurant that serves alcohol. You're sitting across from someone who's having a sweet tea and you're having a Diet Coke. And what is your mind on? Your mind is with the alcohol, because you're in a relationship. You're in a relationship. You love that person, that thing. So you guys are in your brain, because it exists in the same room. That's where your brain is in that relationship. It can't be in that relationship. And that's how I was acting. I was walking around knowing damn well I can't have it, A, B, don't want it, but somehow I'm in a relationship. So I miss it and I belong to it. And that's the issue. She is mine. I am hers. And that's the issue that maybe you guys part with and a lot of people understand, but for me especially, is that I have to finish that relationship and I needed closure for that. So, and I recognize that through watching the video, the way I romanticize, when I start romanticizing alcohol like that in a deep way, closure has to come. And this might mean that I have to do this again within however many months or within whatever. Just because I got that closure and I just broke up with her, we go back to our ex. Not that we relapse, but in our mind, we are wired this way, you guys. We are programmed to be in this relationship. And it's abusive, a relationship with alcohol, which is what it is. It's an abusive relationship where we still love our lover who betrayed us, who lied to us, who was dirty to us, who did all this shit. But she makes us feel better when we come back, though. But she makes us feel better the very next morning, right after we did all that. And that's how that relationship looked like for me. And that's an abusive relationship. Hello? Literally. So, closure. I wrote all my shit down. I wrote down how much I hated her, what I felt about her, and the way that she does not serve me anymore. And she can't belong in my thoughts, my mind. She is not part of me. She's not my thoughts. She's not my mind. She is not Maddee remotely. She don't know me like that. She really don't. And she hasn't known me in a year. So, so that's what I recommend. And I recommend to you is like, even I didn't burn mine because I didn't have time, but my goal was to burn it, which, I mean, you always have time. I could still always burn it, but I just didn't. And I was fine. So I just wrote it out, got closure, and talked about it in some pretty deep depth. Okay, but I recommend, get that breakup letter out, girl. Blow that shit up. And then comes the evaluation of, why did I want to drink, though? Why? And I hate that I have to go ask that question because I'm like, fuck. It's going to be a painful answer because it felt painful that I wanted to drink. So I know that it's going to be a painful answer. The main answer was that in this current state of my life, I wanted to feel closer to people. People my age. I wanted to feel closer to them. And I wanted to feel part of a whole. Sorry, that face is so creepy, but I can't stop making it. Because I think that if I can relate to them, that somehow my loneliness is going to be healed. And somehow that they're going to understand me and relate to me. No, we are very different, me and my peers. We are not the same. And that is the beauty of the world. We talked about that before, that the difference in each other, that we think we're the only ones in the room, this loneliness, we can't feel each other. It's because we're two different people. Our minds don't operate the same. And accepting that is something I did a long time ago that made me love people. And I still feel that way now. But somehow still creeps back in that whole loneliness, only person in the room, egotistical style of loneliness. Versus what loneliness really is. And it caused me to want to drink because I thought that's how I connect with people. That's how I get back that inch of space that still exists between me and you. Even on the realest, most naked level, there's still a difference in me and you that exists. And I think that is really funny because the way when I relate to people the most, it's me as a sober person. People my age, my peers, my fellows, they do not relate to me as a drunk. People that aren't my age, like people who do not relate to me as a drunk person. People relate to me most when I'm sober. So I don't know why I feel as though this creates this great divide when really I am the most normal I've ever been and continue to grow into normalcy, which is my goal, which is a beautiful thing. That's why I sit here with a fucking fidget spinner over a vape, is to grow into normalcy, is to feel this serenity that normal people feel that I have never really been united with, or I mean, until recovery for a long time did not understand at all. And I want people to take that away, that like, if you're looking to drink or you're thinking about relapse, that you are the closest you're going to be with other people right now. In your normalcy, in your sobriety, that is the closest you get to them. They look at you like a freak show otherwise. And I think that I needed to remember that. And it was something I needed to keep in my heart because what am I doing? I'm giggling, I'm laughing, and I'm relating to these people my age when I'm sober. And yeah, we have our moments where I put that wall up and that's what's happening. I explained it in the video. That's what I love about myself is that I do know exactly what's happening. It just takes some time to work with my brain for the plan around it. Because what did I even say? I can feel it. My walls are going up. My walls are going up. That's exactly what was happening. And I have to take a step back and realize, no. I am one. I am what I decide, period. And what I decide is to be part of a whole. Because what? Connection's always the opposite of addiction. And I struggle with that. You see those walls going up instantly. And then what happens as soon as those walls go up, or I even have a thought of it? Relapse is looming right behind, not very far. And that's proof to me. And it's a struggle because I struggle with connection. We talk about it a million times. Like, and so of course, like, duh, Maddie, you know, it's like, of course that would be what brings me back to relapse. Duh. But I don't recognize that. And that's okay. That's not my fault. That's what we're here doing. That's what we're learning. That's what sobriety is teaching me, is these really real ways to fix myself and relate to others and keep myself from relapse. Alcohol is the isolating thing, not sobriety. So being young, the freedom in it, and at my age of 25, it's like, I'm not ripe young by any means. I'm more like starting to settle down type of young. You know, we're getting there. We're getting there is crazy at 25. But the type of freedom that comes with my age group is it doesn't reflect really in getting fucked up anymore, because the freedom that I have, it isn't just about me going to get fucked up. It's the fact that I don't have children. I don't have a husband. I don't have these crazy things tying me down to my life. The worst thing I have is I need to be home every 6 hours to let out Miss Poochie Perfect Princess over there. I'm not tied down by anything. That is freedom. And that's what makes me the same as my peers. And so long, this helps with FOMO. So long as I am adventuring, I am being compulsive in a good way, like in a healthy, sober, Maddie way, you know, having fun, going out and doing all these things that I should be doing. I am them. I am uniting with them. I'm utilizing my freedom. I don't need FOMO. There's nothing I could be missing out on because my rules are in place. My walls are up where they're supposed to be on my guidelines and what I can and can't do. But freedom is existing, baby. Freedom running rapid all around town, Bookie. Whoa, why did I just seize out and say the word Bookie? What the fuck was that? Somebody get a doctor. Is anyone a doctor? Ellie's like, she heard me. But that I recognized, and it's already been helping with my FOMO, because clearly FOMO still 10 months later is something that is degrading on my soul and causing me to not feel united with people. And I don't need to have FOMO because I'm doing it all. I'm literally doing it all. And I don't know why I thought that, but like, if you're utilizing your freedom in whatever capacity of freedom looks like for you, then you don't need to have FOMO. It's solved. You're healed. I'm healed. And that's the thing too. Like, then that means that I could relate to these people in a different way. I don't know how to explain that. So like, I may not relate to them in the club, but I could relate to them on a hike. Sorry, like, what the fuck? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to explain that anymore. So like, that was so cheesy. I relate to people in different ways in my sobriety, okay? And being young and being sober and the balancing act. I relate to people differently. And I have to accept that and understand that and still understand that's connection. That is still connecting with somebody. That's still being part of the whole. That's still unity. Just because I don't connect with them in different ways. And so in my brain, and maybe I'm alone in this, because I couldn't relate in those very certain, in my mind, very intimate is what I think. In my mind, drinking is very intimate. This relationship with alcohol, drugs, the nightlife, once the sun goes down, very intimate. That's how you get to know people. You couldn't possibly know and love someone if you're not interacting with them on that level, on that plane. Not true whatsoever. These are parts of life, mind you, too. At 25, like 24, 25, these parts of life are starting to fade for normal people. Okay? So their desire isn't in so much going out and getting fucked up anymore versus us with issues and or who just don't drink, whatever. Like, we desire that. I know I'd be in a club popping this thing if I could at 25. But other people are not like that. Like, normies are like, yeah, like, I might go to a club like once a month. Like, you know, like, they're like at By the Way. You know, like, they're at like fucking bourbon, or they're at like cocktail club. Like, they're chilling. Or they're at home doing the same shit we're doing, which is watching TV. Did that all make sense to you? These are just revelations that I had whilst healing within the last approximate week. That being said, I watched a TikTok a long time ago, actually. That was this girl, and she's like, if you're in your early 20s, girls, stop cleaning, stop caring so much about shit, like, go out, have fun, blah, blah, blah. I wish I didn't see that video to this day, okay? I was newly getting sober, and y'all know I'm an OCD addict, clinch. First off, clean girl aesthetic. Okay, clean girl aesthetic. And that's just a part of who I am. But especially when I first started getting sober, like, I'm a stress cleaner. I don't know, like, and you know who taught me that? One of my dear friends, a sweetheart from that I went to college with. Like, she used to stress clean, and then I was like, wait, you can put your energy into cleaning? That's kind of tight. I took that from her. And when I start getting upset, sometimes I'll like be sweeping it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so her. I wish I was her. She's incredible. She's gonna be a great mom. But I watched that TikTok and I'm like, wait, what do I do with my life then? Because I'm doing, like, as a sober person, obviously, like, things are boring sometimes. And, like, I'm doing these very, like, adult things all the time. Like, what about everything else? And it turned me off. Like, I would leave things a mess on purpose a little bit, right? And then it would just bug me. And it wasn't giving me freedom in what I thought it was. And so I think, like, what I'm aiming at right now talking to you is uniting, like, the balancing act of the fact that us as sober people do have, it's okay that we take on more responsibility, okay? We're leveling up. So we don't have the club anymore. It might take these people 4 years before they fully exit the club, okay? That's when they take on more responsibility. We take on more stuff. And going out and having fun and all this stuff is important. But it's okay that you're scrubbing the shit out of your house, is what I'm trying to say. Honestly, like, it's cool that you're spending your time early with a book in bed at 9 on a Friday night. You know? I don't know if it's just me that really struggled with that for a little bit. And like maybe that's like something for me, but I don't know. I think it's taken me a lot to understand that it's okay that I have additional responsibilities that other people don't have, or my interests and things that I do are very like boring on like a boring pattern scale, honestly. And like, it's not causing me to miss out on my life the way I think it is. It's in fact, giving me life. It's giving me more years. It's giving me more energy in my next day to utilize my day, to have fun with people, to laugh, to go on a boat, to go to the pool, to do whatever the fuck I want to do. And so I think like the YOLO factor has always been hard for me too. And it's definitely like is a reoccurring issue that I have, is that YOLO shit. And it doesn't make me want to go out. It makes me want to bury in the bed, oddly enough. Because I know I can't go out anymore. And I know if I did, it would just be painful. And I might as well just go further into the bed. But that's not a good thing either. And the balance of that can kind of be tricky sometimes. I can't lie. Like the toss up and the balance between those two things can be really hard sometimes, but you know what always helps it? Being simple and having loving girls around, and having a girlfriend that you can call on to, that you know is your sober activity buddy, or like doing things during the day, like that type of girl for you. That's how you fix that. And it's hard. Sometimes you forget, or it's like, why can't I just be like perfect? What's wrong with me going to the gym and being perfect? I mean, you can't be perfect all the time, and it's boring, and life's not supposed to be boring. But that's up to you and how you view life. And that's what I was talking about, how I reframe my view too. Maybe that's what you like. Maybe you want to be 90. Maybe it's not that you're like overly choosing healthy patterns. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the fact that you just like those things. You like being in bed at 8 o'clock. You like doing Sudoku or some weird shit. In which case, like how I reframed my viewpoint, I think you should review yours. And okay, maybe I've changed enough that these ideals and these things in life that my brain is set up for and searching for doesn't need to be anymore. It can be chilled out. I don't need that. I don't want that. And it takes a lot of us telling ourselves we don't want it, but we have to mean it before our brain can be actually rewired, because our brain can see us tricking it. So it's like, it needs to be like real for our brain to take a beat and realize, oh, I don't want that thing. She was tweaking. She's fine. And then that also comes to with like, and this is like a whole recovery for like alcoholics and addicts, is like the uncomfortability with peace part. And like we thrived in chaos. I always did. Like thrive. Like that's where I naturally belong, is in the thicket of some bullshit. Like mid-fight chaos, like that. Did I just growl for real? Sorry about that. I'm so sorry you had to see that. But yeah, I thrived in chaos. And it takes so much longer than I think people talk about for that to change. So I don't want you to be deterred if you're like, holy shit, it's been this X amount of time and my brain is still craving chaos. And we don't give ourselves enough time for these leeway things. Like, it's been 10 months. I feel like I'm just now coming to a place where I'm cool without chaos. And that is like after me talking myself off a ledge of drinking like a week ago. That's after me having to like reevaluate everything because I was like, wait, let's break this down. Do you even want to go to the club? And I'm like, no, but I want to have sex. Sorry. Gross. Hopefully whoever's important has stopped watching by now. But like, okay, I want to be told I'm hot, but I want to be able to dance and be free doing it at the same time. You know, like I don't crave going to the club. I crave maybe going on a date, meeting somebody I love, going out with my friends, like dancing with them in the house, making a TikTok. Like, going to the club would cause a panic attack. And I can't believe that I don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, girl, you don't want that. Like, you don't want it. You'd be freaked out. And the boys that you want are not in the club. Your husband's not in the club. It's just the truth. You're not meeting your husband in the club. Oh, okay. And I said on here, which I think is good, if my socialization is suffering, I either took myself out of the picture or overthought it. That is 100%. Both of those things happened this past little bit. That's the same as we talked about this in the friend episode where you take yourself out of the equation. Because, like, on many accounts, in normal life, not in my own twisted, fucked up brain, it's like, she didn't reach out to me. Sorry, my screen thing right now looks just like when Katniss, whenever Caesar's Palace came out and was like, the Tracker Jack venom is injected. Look, it looks just like it. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Do you guys think I have ADHD? Yeah. Caesar Flickerman, that's his name. Sorry, I wasn't going to let that go and I could not move on until I said it. Completely take myself out of socialization and going out because I lose interest in it because I'm tired and I suffer with the relaxation thing, yada, 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 with that situation. So I take myself completely out of the picture or I overthink it and I'm not enjoying the picture, whatever it is. And it's just like, my socialization always suffers at my own hands. It is not the hands of other people. It is not my friend's fault. It is not anyone's fault. It is my fault. I made that issue. And it's just important that we stay on top of that as sober people. But like the overthinking part of socialization sucks because like I'll get invited to something and I'll be like, oh, I could definitely make that happen, like, scheduling wise. Like, yeah, like, I could totally go do that. And then I'm like, but then what? Then people drink and I sit there and, yeah, I overthink it before I get there. I get there and I don't even realize people are drinking. I have a great time. I laugh. I giggle, you know? And that happens to me all the time. I overthink an event or I just, like, somehow spawn up somewhere and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm having so much fun. And I'm like, damn, this is something that I would say no to, like, on another occasion. And there's, like, a beauty in the dance of sheltering yourself in sobriety. And I think for a while in the beginning, I'm caged up. I was caged up. I was a caged up girl. And I think that you should cage that elephant. But yeah, I just think like I still to this day will overthink stuff. And it's just like not that deep. Like, and that goes to show of where my brain is. And it's in that relationship somewhat with alcohol. And there's a jealousy that exists there in some way. And like, I don't know how to kind of articulate that in a way. But yeah, and that sucks. And I just want, if you face that, I want you to stop overthinking it and just go out and have fun and not think about it twice and act like you are drinking. Make like, that's one thing too. I've like within the last week, it's like, I'll make a mocktail and I'll dance around the house, you know, or like, it's like as if you're getting ready. So if you struggle with that, act like you're getting ready the way you used to. Turn on some music because this isn't about rules. And I struggle with that too. Like, I have to bring the fun into my life. If I was drinking, I would turn on the music and put on a mocktail or make a mocktail and like dance a little bit, make a few TikToks, like make some looks in the mirror, you know, like choose that sexy outfit that might show an extra inch of skin versus the conservative sober one, you know? And I just think like we lose ourselves on this path and And that's the balance that I'm referring to. That shouldn't leave. And I think that exits the building. And so does our childlike wonder, our girlhood and shit like this. Wow. Every time I sit here, it's like all this stuff is full circle for me. It's just so full circle. All of my emotions are so full circle. And it boils down to that inner girl. It boils down to that inner child all the fucking time. And here I am again talking to you about the inner child out of nowhere. And this is why I come here and talk about my feelings, because we were laying them out together. Now, this week, I am not allowed to say no. Which sometimes I hate, because y'all know me. I've got editing to do. I've got shit to do, you know? But anyways, that's something for me. And I think we go through periods where you're just not allowed to say no to your friends. And I think everyone should have those periods once in a while. When you feel yourself slipping, you're just not allowed to say no. And I don't mean that, like, obviously, as a sober person, if you feel conflicted, like, you know. But for the most part, if you're being invited to something and you've been sober for a while or people know about it, then you should go. It's not somewhere that's going to be dangerous for you. And that's the thing. You can always leave. I'm sure you know that. But if you aren't aware, you can leave anywhere. That's not just for sober people. Any predicament you're in that you're unhappy, you get to go home. And taking that chance, you feel better going to do that. Even if you got up, got worked up, got all pretty, and then you find out that you low-key need to go home. And that's okay. That's happened to me so many times. I wish I could tell you, like, I have left places a lot. And I don't even tell people because I feel bad. And then I feel like I have to explain myself because people don't understand sober people sometimes. And I just leave and I Irish goodbye because it's my life and I don't care. Yeah. And I also recognize like some of it was like, I need to go out again and I want a boyfriend. And like it like was messing me up a little bit. I think I'm like craving this intimacy in a way, but men ain't shit. So like that's the issue we're having, right? I hate Hinge. I tried it. I feel like a piece of meat. It was trash. Fuck Hinge. I'm not going on there. If you match with me, sorry. I'll never see you in real life. Ever. And it's like scary. But I'm like, oh fuck. Well, in the meantime, like I need to provide that for myself because I'm spiraling out of control. And not because of it, but like I'm lacking intimacy. I'm lacking this deep connection with someone else. And like I want it. And I'm jealous of people that have it. Clearly. And it just told me like you're not doing a very good job of dating yourself. So what I do, I went and bought tickets. I'm going to a candlelit symphony because I want to, and I watched If I Stay. Do you guys remember that movie? It was trash. It was not good. I watch all the old movies and I love them, like Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, all the Hunger Games, all Divergent, all these old movies. Okay, and I watched not a Simple Favor. A Simple Now, like with Peter from Dauntless and Triss. Spectacular Now, I think it's called. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, because I love all these movies, and that one was trash. Like, I love some cheesy shit, like, for real, from, like, 2013, 2014, yes, get me into it. I've always been a lover girl. I've always been a romantic. And If I Stay was trash. It wasn't good. I didn't like it. I don't know. I really liked it when I was younger, so I don't know why it wasn't my thing. And I also love Chloe Grace Moretz, so I don't know what my deal is. But and because of that, I bought myself candlelit symphony tickets at Magnolia Plantation. So I think it'll be really pretty. That being said, I'm going to have to start going on dates with myself more because I'm clearly feeling not dated enough. And that's my fault. That's nobody else's fault. That's my fault. The men might be shit, but I don't need to be shit on for that reason. Okay, so honestly, and the hack for that, and to gaining courage for shit, leave the fucking house. And without your headphones, leave the house. If you don't have courage for these things, you have to build them. It's through practice. I'm tired of people being myself too. Sorry. So I'm tired of people saying like things like, I can't do that, or I don't have the courage for that, or what. You got to practice. This is what we are here for. The main thing, if you're uncomfortable with any of this shit, you're struggling too, it's practice, 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 practice. And one of those things is going out with yourself, and do it without headphones. So like, just hear people, just hear noises, be in the grocery store without your phone out, waiting to pay. So you just look around at stuff. That's what you do. You just stand there, look around, wait for the lady to be done. Hi, how are you doing? Good, how are you? Then you leave. Which I don't know if like, I just feel like a lot of people wear headphones. I was like in the headphone thing where like, I couldn't really go out alone. And if I did, it was like, I mean, I could always go out alone. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm just saying. And I think that we think, at least for me, I think I need to connect with people is the issue. The issue is also I need to connect with life in general. Like if I'm feeling out of place, out of touch, it's not just to do with other people. It's life as a whole. Like I'm feeling out of it and like I need to connect with it again in very real ways. Like there are so many countless ways to reconnect. And like it was so weird, but I had like a very romantic trip to the grocery store the other day at Whole Foods. It was just like very romantic to myself. Like it was like romanticized. Like I was mysterious as shit. Like, of course, my husband wouldn't be in the Whole Foods in West Ashley at that time. Of course. Because I looked great, too. Like, he would have loved me. Wherever he is, you would have loved me. Why weren't you there? But, that's like an example of me reconnecting with life. And it helped me in these weird, strange ways that I can't explain. Where I'm just kind of like, oh my God, this is what it's for. Why am I so fucking mad? Like, this is the most fun grocery trip I've ever been on. And it's cheesy little things like that are whimsical and fun and nurture that inner child, because that's what we wanted when we grow up. When I was little, I didn't want to be at home locked up. I wanted to be able to like go to the grocery store, right? And like spend all your money in this cool grocery store and all the shit you want, not what your mom wants, you know? And like that's another example of why reconnecting with life is reconnecting with our inner child. And all these, like, she didn't just want to be a pretty girl. She wanted to like have a set of keys in her hand in the senior parking lot, you know? Or like she wanted to have her own apartment where she could just have a cool fish mat that she bought because it brought her joy. Or like she used to walk through Target or walk through Home Depot and love that section with all the lighting. I saw this on TikTok the other day. All the lighting. I have no original experiences, and I saw you also are all in touch with this feeling. And like the color wall or the paint wall. And what did I want to do? I wanted to go build my own room. I wanted to like be on Nickelodeon, have a Nickelodeon room, have a slime room, build my own shit. And that's what makes me happy in adulthood. That's what unites me with my inner child. That's what makes her proud. That's what makes me happy and proud. Because I missed a step. Because I'm aiming for things that are not just little increments of joy. That freedom that I yearned for when I was little was freedom that was as small as buying the paint, was as small as buying those weird nuts in the store that cost $20, you know? And we can spend money on that stuff. We don't spend money on liquor. Those little weird things and shit, hobbies and fun shit you want to do, I don't hesitate now. Like if I see something, like y'all know I'm frugal, y'all know I care about my money, y'all know I care about financials and what makes a bad bitch. A financially sound bitch is a bad bitch, period. Hello. But I don't hesitate when it comes to shit like that, because that's what ignites my soul and that's what I'm looking for in life. And that is the important thing in life. Oh, and this was cute and like so sad. This shows so much about my soul. This is so sad. But like whenever I'm feeling out of sorts and stuff, like the way I was like ostracized and like I'm not doing an appropriate job balancing my sobriety life and my regular life, and there's cracks and stuff. I remember that like I need to be less extreme, and my life doesn't have to fit into one box. And that like, this is so cheesy, but like critters are friends too. And like the trees are friends too. And the sky is a friend too. And going outside today is something that I'm really going to enjoy, even though it's alone. And that sometimes choosing the thing that we like to do, we still have an alone feeling in our chest, is okay. We don't have to fit into every box. And like, I have to recognize that there are so many times where like I'll be doing something and I'm like, I'm just fucking sad. This, especially what happened when I was alone. And it's like, so you're doing it though. It's okay. Or like going to hang out with friends and I'm like, bummed, like how I talked about, but that's okay. I'm there doing it. And I kind of talked about that last episode, but I don't know, I guess like not forcing yourself to fit in the box. And like, it's a day I enjoy though, but I am at the beach. But look, that's a bird. That bird doesn't know me. We could be cool. Like, that's so fucking cheesy and like so if I stay of sounding of me, but like, I don't know. That's some loner girl shit right there. And that's how I feel. I'm single as fuck. Can you not tell by that? Mind you, a lot of people with alcoholism addiction obviously have underlying mental health issues. A lot of us, like I'd say almost everyone, but some of that too, if you're not aware, comes with like agoraphobia, which is obviously like the fear of going out. I said obviously kind of bitchy, which is the fear of like going outside, going around people. And it's usually stems from mental health not being taken care of or something bad and detrimental in your mental health that causes that. It's typically not like an upright thing someone suffers with. And a lot of people gain it through alcoholism and through addiction because it's an isolating situation. And I didn't give myself the space to rebuild going back out because I worked every day. I'm like, well, you're not like necessarily scared of going outside in any way, but around other people and stuff just like was something that like made my skin crawl, especially in the beginning. And I found that creeping in when I just broke down last episode and there was cracks in my sobriety, cracks in my healing and in like pushing forward. And part of it was that like I didn't want to be outside and I was forcing myself to, and like a weird thing with it. So like be delicate because our minds are programmed to kind of head back to that isolation, head back to that agoraphobia where we're just like the outside world, like fuck that shit. And when that stuff starts to creep in, what do we need? A good friend, laughs, and connection, girl. You know the answer to all this shit already. You already know the answer. Love you so much. You're so smart. And I wrote down like the 3 things about like balancing being young and sober for me and my personally is like the key to it is feeling everything with my gut, feeling it out, feeling situations out. Everything is like pretty reliant on my gut, which y'all know I love talking about that shit. Peace, the gut thing, and then learning to be okay with me and like who I am now and my recipe with life, what I choose, what I like, and being proud in that and okay with that. So like those are 3 things that if they start to stem or like break down a little bit, I'm gonna go back to struggling with the balance, which is fine. It's a push and pull. It's something we're gonna struggle with, but not to this length at which y'all saw me in my detriment about a week ago. Like with us and now we tweaking. FOMO to me is under all that, in actuality, it is an urge to be normal that exists in my alcoholic brain that is just like, fuck, I am not part of anything and no one understands me and I'm not normal. And then my FOMO is developed from that. And it's kind of like the roots of all evil. And I think it's like about the waiting game of being patient in your sobriety of until like what you want to do kind of ends and like what you think you want on your own, it will subside, and waiting it out. And that comes with like a lot of pain people don't talk about because like the whole first bit of recovery is FOMO, and which is terrorizing, and it takes so long to go away. I can't even lie to you. Like still FOMO is going to be a common occurrence in my life because I'm a bad FOMO girl, as are most alcoholics and addicts, and most people in general have FOMO. Like nobody wants to miss out on the party. Nobody doesn't want to be part of a unit. That's what we're made to do as humans. We're made to connect. And you know, we don't have that sometimes, and it makes things really difficult and not palatable. Like not sweet on the palate is what FOMO brings. And a lot of time it's like that waiting period, and then changes start to come after that, like waiting it out while you have FOMO. There is no such thing as FOMO if you do what you want. Okay? Like you can outsmart FOMO. And I think I started doing that at the beginning of my sobriety because I made my own experiences. Like I made like what I actually wanted to do. I'd be like, wait, so what do you actually fucking want to do? Okay, let's go do that shit then, girl. Let's jump right on it. And there is no FOMO because I'm creating this life for me. And if I want to go do something, inviting somebody with me, or like making sure that I'm accompanied by people on these experiences or whatever. And like, you can outsmart FOMO. It's fake because at the end of the day, it's me wanting to be like everybody else again. And I don't have that opportunity if I want to be happy and healthy. So like, I can't force myself to be like these people that I'm nothing like anymore. And it's just, I feel like about outsmarting FOMO a little bit. And I really struggle with that. And it's something that popped back up recently. And I'm like, wait, FOMO only exists because I am comparing myself, and comparison is a thief of joy. Y'all know how I feel about comparison. I hate comparison. That's what it is. I'm comparing myself to these people now, and I'm comparing my life to theirs, and it's not comparable at all. It's not fair to me. And then we send back to, so then what do I want out of this life? And slowly, like, because that's what it took for my FOMO to go away initially. And like, I have my time periods because we're balancing being young and sober. And I think it's just something that like, it will always bring pain and it will always hurt. Like an example of that is like not having champagne on your literal fucking wedding day, or like, you know, like certain things that sober girls think about. And I think that's one, and a good example that we always think about is like, you know, The first one being your birthday. The first year you get sober, I thought about my birthday a lot. And like when I was having pity parties or I felt bad for myself. And I just think that it's something that hurts, but something that we wouldn't give up for anything, and something that we're already overthinking that's so far away. Just like the situation you're overthinking not going to that party in 2 weeks because you think this, when you get there, you're going to have a great time. And you're not going to realize it. And it's like the similar thing. And I don't know. I think it's like FOMO is just one of those things you have to keep outsmarting. And you have to just like it is so important for our brains to be enriched and to like do things like just like a dog, literally, just like an animal. Like it is so important we're enriched. And I cannot stress that enough. And that's why I do shit like this. That's why I have fucking crossword puzzles and Sudoku puzzles and all this shit. Not because that's like where I get my stuff in life, but like to make sure that yes, I go out and I do my shit. I get stuff done. I go have fun. But like, I cannot live a sedentary lifestyle that is not enriched. Like if I'm alone or like I don't have anything to do, my brain in some way needs to be itched before I'm like, fuck, I'm not like anyone else. And it does not take long. Like, is that a fucking plane? Can this plane crash? That's how nuts I am. How nuts I am though. It doesn't take that long. It's like where like it goes from like, okay, I'm alone, let's watch TV, I'm bored, to like, I'm not like everyone else. Because at my core, I want to drink liquor. You know? That's how crazy I am. And that's okay, because we're working with it, not against it. Right? And yeah. And then after this, I think I might not be able to finish all this today, because we're not going to have enough time. So if I say this and then say goodbye, it's because my camera's dying. So sorry, but we're going to try not to. But I want to get this point out. We can't wish that our lives were something else because it just gets us in trouble. And that's not going to happen to you. You're not going to wake up in a new body and you're not going to gain a new life. You can only make changes to the one you have. And it gets me in a lot of trouble romanticizing and like trying to flip that shit and become somebody else or like wish it to something else. It's just not realistic. And we need these reality checks. I've talked about it before. We can't not be realistic. We have to have reality checks because we aren't a realistic peoples. And I have grown out of that and in turn become very realistic, but I can't even step out on the way I view myself or I want my life to be. It has to be like a very real, rational human thing in terms of like, now, I stayed inside 9 months and I'm about to be out all summer comfortably. I didn't make myself go out before. I didn't force myself out of my comfort zone. I didn't do none of that shit. And guess where I am now? Ready to go out, ready to have a little fun, ready to be cheeky over the summer. I can't wait for it because I'm comfortable with my sobriety and it doesn't affect me, people drinking around me. And forcing yourself sometimes is not the answer. Getting out of our comfort zone does not apply to going in environments where people are over drinking. Sorry. Like, I don't know if that's just me. They're like, get out of your comfort zone, go have fun. Not near a keg though. Like the fuck? Not at a bar, dumb fuck. So don't listen to fuckheads that are dumb and don't know what they're talking about. With the whole relapse situation, I'm tired, okay? And I think I hit a point where and that's a lot of the issue of my shit. I was fucking tired emotionally. When we get that tired, it is not a physical situation. You can't blame it on work and all the stuff around you. You were also emotionally and spiritually depleted. That was the type of tired I was at. That's exhaustion. And we don't let ourselves get there because that means that there's some holes, right? And that's what happened to me this last bit. But, and like a whole lot of different stuff. But anyways, I realized I'm tired of fighting this alcohol shit. I'm so fucking tired. I want alcohol out of my life in any ideal in any part of the word. I'm so fucking tired of it, right? And I realized something very abruptly while watching the podcast. I was like, need to move forward. If I keep pushing, I have to push through it. I can't revert and go back to it. That's the insanity. And like, maybe you guys are like, yeah, no shit. But like, as an insane person, that's a beautiful thing for me to see. Like, I just broke my own cycle of insanity, which takes a lot of work for somebody who's clinically insane actually to see. And that is that like, oh, dumbass, you have to keep pushing forward and then just up it and push harder. Keep pushing until you can't push anymore. You don't get to go the other way. We don't get to go the backwards way. And there's only one option out of not thinking about alcohol anymore, out of not this whole alcohol situation being out of my life, which it never will because I'm an alcoholic and I have to accept that. But like, in a debilitating degree, and that's to push hard and to accelerate faster and to go uphill, to go quick and to keep going forward. And not in a way that exhausts me, but like, in the same rate, like to just continue and to push every day harder and to win every day. And for those little wins and these little things to add up and to give me peace and to give me joy. And for when alcohol doesn't shut up, for when that brain doesn't shut up, that I have enough wherewithal in me to be like, yeah, fuck you. I ain't got time for that shit. The fuck? Instead of break down like how I did last week. So I don't know if that helps you at all, but when you're feeling like you want to relapse, you feel that way, it means you need to push harder forward instead of back the other way. And you might need some rest before that. So like diligent rest, soul, spirit, mind, whole body rest, whole body exhaustion, depleted, okay? We're not doing that. We got to fix that. And then we got to push harder forward after we get proper rest. Because I'm one of those, like, I realized I was bottoming out and I was crashing out in terms of like after a hanger falls, like that type of fucking exhaustion and just like, and that's like, there was so much self-victimization in the last video. I let myself do it because I knew what was happening and like people need to see that because like it's not fair for me to like not have any pity parties or like that's real. That's life. That's what life with alcoholism looks like. That's what it looks like when you can't get what other people have. It's just sometimes you just want to fucking cry. It's FOMO. And like, that's how I was feeling. It's like, I don't feel bad, but that was definitely an overlying thing. And that reminds me that like I was not keeping my sobriety up to date. And that's something I have to do for it to work for me. And like, it just changes so much more frequently than we think. And I've talked about it, so like you can figure it out on your own, but like our recovery plan and stuff, it changes so often. And when it does, it just feels like things are off. Like it feels like something's wrong in your heart. Like you're just like, oh my God, like what is happening? I'm getting a lot of anxiety. Like things aren't going well. And you're outgoing some of your old plans, or maybe like the holes that you have in your program or in your sobriety, and like what you need to work it isn't working for you right now. It's not serving you in the right way. And I was like crying for help. I think I even mentioned that in the last video. And I love that I can see things for what they are. It just takes a little bit of getting past it to fix it. But like I mentioned that, and I knew I'm like, it's just not my plan. Like I always say, I said, this is a plan, but it's not mine. And this could work for somebody. It's not working for me right now. That I need to assess once a month where I'm at in my actual program, physically, what I'm doing day in and day out, how many meetings I'm going to, who I'm talking to, what I'm doing needs to be assessed once a month. And then being more careful with each situation and thing. When I first got sober, everything that happened, I ran it through my brain a lot of times. I ran it with other people like multiple times, or my sponsor or whoever. And that's something that's kind of, I got a little bit away from. Each situation, everything, I wasn't asking for guidance. I wasn't always utilizing my higher power. I wasn't necessarily journaling or thinking about decisions before I made them. Just certain things like that. And each situation being taken care of so carefully is such a sober thing, right? Like, especially if you're in the program, like that's such a rooms thing for individually, for things to be, situations to be handled. And that's how we have to do it. And there's a reason it's like that. And I have to stick to that. And that is something that I was reminded of as well moving forward. And then I recognize too that sobriety in somewhat is like, it's like a relationship. In the fact that like I can't lie to recovery. I can't people please recovery. How like a lot of people say when they get a boyfriend, whatever, they see them for what they are. A lot of people in recovery say that too. This person now, whatever facade you had up, that person's there at night. And who you see at night is who you get often, right? Like who you see behind closed doors and all this stuff, like that's who you are. And you can't lie to sobriety too. Sobriety goes home with you. It's just like that. Your recovery. And like you can't lie to it. You can't outsmart it and you can't trick it. Like it sees your mask and it sees all of that. And I have to be honest in what I feel, just like a relationship, so that it doesn't end. And that includes my emotions. If you're not honest in a relationship with somebody about your emotions and how you feel and stuff, people get fed up with that shit. You can't keep lying. That's not how it works. That is considered lying too. It's like cheating. in a way. And girls take that seriously. You're still lying to me though. And it's about the power of the lie, the fact that you can, the principle behind it, the fact that you can lie, especially to that magnitude from somebody I didn't judge could off rip. Those are definitely some things. And then also like doing things on a whim again, down to meetings. So like, y'all know I love my schedule and I need to stick by my schedule, but this is the balancing I'm talking about and what I'm learning and being young and being sober, which also means organization and disorganization in a way, kind of, right? And like the balance of that to keep life fun and to keep me intrigued, stimulated too. And so doing each day on the whim. So like what I have started doing for scheduling, because I think I was right at the beginning of sobriety, like it does need to be scheduled to a T, like you should be scheduled, because like you need to be, and that's my advice. But as you know, I'm getting closer to 10 months to a year and things change. And that was something that changed for me. And what I recognized from last week was this new schedule of mine, it consists of some main things I need done for that day. So today I had a meeting with my brother and then I have this and then I go to work tonight. Before it'd be like, okay, this and then meeting here and then this here and like everything mapped out. No, it's on a whim. So if I have time, I feel like going to a meeting or I feel like doing whatever today, I go do it. If I feel like I'm probably going to go to the pool, clearly, then I go do that. But like these, even down to a meeting. So like yesterday, I wasn't planning on going to a meeting. And then I was like, wait, I kind of want to go. And I was like, well, I don't have to because I'm planning on doing blah, blah. I was like, wait, no, this is a whim thing. I'm just going to go do it. Like, I'm just going to go have fun. I don't need permission for anything in my life because I'm safe, I'm happy, and I'm healthy. My decision-making isn't skewed. So I don't need any permission across any board to do anything. So I'm like, what the fuck? And I think like doing things on a whim is a new thing I need to bring back into my life day in and day out, so I'm not depleted of joy. And like part of joy and stuff coming into this is like the excitement of the day. So like, each day is a new day, and that is fun and early, even with the schedule, with the plan. But it's really fun right now because I'm like, it's a new day. Like, what's up, girls? And I might go hang out with people. Gasp, without having to know what we're doing 3 days before. I might get a text yesterday. I got a text, want to go have breakfast, want to go have coffee. I would love that. What do? I go have breakfast, I go have coffee, just because funsies. Hello. Sorry, I was like looking at my camera weird because I'm like, wait, am I recording, right? Could you imagine? Like, because it's like, do you not do that normally? No. I was like to a T, like, if you're not on my schedule, you're not on my schedule, and I leave time open for people to be on my schedule. That's not how life works, you know? We're moving past that. So you're like, yeah, girl, that's how everyone lives their day. Duh. Like, when people are like, what are you doing today? I don't know yet. I'd be like, oh my God, the anxiety that will pulse through me. I could never be like that. I'm like, how do you not know? It's the day. How do you not know? And that gets me in trouble. So we're living life on a whim. That's a new thing that we're doing. New schedule writing or lack of. Some days are just open because we don't know. We don't care. We're going to see when the day comes because we're young, hot, and healthy. And we got a banging bod. That, and then also saying fuck it to the plan sometimes. So like, say I schedule tomorrow that I'm supposed to edit all day, but it ends up being sunny when it's supposed to rain. And I get a text, you need to go to the beach. By schedule, we out, we young, we out here, it's summer, we're having fun, hood shit, I'm doing hood rat shit with my friends, we out. You know, like that's the energy that I'm going into the summer with, into this new recovery with, and especially after that tantrum that I had last week. Something that I noticed too in there was a whole lot of me, obviously. And that's what happens when we get sad. Things become about us. Things are very me. Why am I this way? Detrimental, world is ending, whole nine. In those times, it is important to remember that there is not one thing I have experienced or likely will experience that somebody else hasn't before. Not even somebody, probably somebody in recovery too. And that is something I have to understand about myself, is that like no part of this is unique. But then also, like, I think watching it too, and I knew when I filmed that episode, like, that was the last day I felt that way. I did get it out. And, like, from there forward, it was on to the game of the recovery game. And how do I fix this? How do I not feel like this? And, like, it worked. I clearly feel fucking a lot better. But I'm not naive enough to, like, she exists. And it's important I take care of her in a different way. And that's a big red flag. But okay, so here's what it is. I can't feel bad for myself even an inch in moments like that, or I start to understand excuse again, and then drinking's around the corner. So like, I am wired for excuses, okay? This is like, I've always been an excuse person, but I had this to do. Excuses out the ass is who I am, or who I was, used to be. Past tense, thank you. And once I start feeling bad for myself, it's like I get excuses again. I understand again. Well, then I could just go drink, like, and that is not who I am. Like, I don't do excuses at all, like at all anymore. Like, I hate when people make excuses too, and I hate when I make them, like, and there's just a lot of excuses and stuff going on. And like, I can't give myself, as an addict, I can't give myself an inch or I take a mile. And before you know it, I'm drunk again. And like, so I think like me goes with excuses kind of. And like, that is just like a dangerous road that leads back to more games and more dangerous behavior potentially down the road. So that's just why I can't feel bad for myself at all. Because I just like, I can't feel bad for her. Sorry. Like, I can be there for myself, but I cannot feel bad for myself. Like, and I get like that. It was a pity party. Okay. Sorry. And everybody gets like that. It's normal. Everybody makes mistakes. And so what helps there and what helps all the time in these situations in relapse and recovery? Helping others. Service. Being of service. And this is exactly where humility helps you and comes to play. Because when you start feeling those things, those excuses, those me, that humility, humble, sit down, shut the fuck up, lay it on the table, shut the fuck up. And that is exactly what helps us during times like that. Same with service, helping others. That is what helps us in times of need. And those days there forward, after I felt that way, after I filmed, what am I doing? I'm helping others, because I just know in our soul, we have a selfish-based disease, okay? It's how it is. I'm sorry. Our disease is based in selfishness. It's not our fault that our brain works like this, but it does, okay? And I don't know how to explain that, but at the root of it is selfishness. So when we start getting down into these places, we have to grab that root and rip it up from the bottom and go serve. Go help somebody else. Because whether we think we learned that or not, it doesn't matter. That can be taken away. That humility, that humbleness, that all that shit can be taken away in just a second. And then when you matter more than the next person, that's when you relapse. That's when bad things happen to you. And again, you don't know if you make it back from that relapse, which is a scary thing for me. And I think it's helped me in a lot of cases where I'm scared that I don't get to come back to the sober life. Or like, what if it gets me and I cannot get out of that fucking cycle of drinking the way I do now? And I know it's vicious like that. Part of my success is that I don't feel bad for myself in my alcoholism. And I'm not sure if that's something I should say on the internet or if that's like I don't know, but like, I don't feel bad for myself. And I think that's because like, I live by the rule that I can't see myself the best sometimes. So like, I don't trust my gut of how I view myself at times, just because self can't see self. I've taught you that. We've learned that here before. But it has kept me too from overanalyzing myself and also overanalyzing situations, because I know it's a disease and like, I can't help the way it affects me emotionally or like the way it affects my life. But the middle of it is selfishness. Okay. And like, I don't know how to say it any differently. Like, we cannot feel bad for ourselves for having alcoholism. It's just like, we learn life on life's terms. And that was so important to me so early. And I think it helped my success. And I think that's something I'm trying to like somehow portray to you right now. I'm finding the way to, and is that like, we are life on life's terms. So like, it doesn't matter the disease we have. It doesn't matter who we are. We are better than that. And we break that and we fix that and we're humble. And when we're feeling like that, that means that our disease is creeping back in and we have some service work to do because we're being selfish and it's natural in us. So that's where we work with ourselves, not against ourselves, but we never have pity. Like, not in a next level way. I don't know. And I think at minimum, what helps me too is at bare absolute minimum, me destroying the body of my mother's child is selfishness. I'm sorry. Like, and I think that's because as a woman, I know the way that alcoholism has affected so many people in their life. And like, yeah, you're sick, but you're selfish. And like, it's your job to get to the bottom of that. It's your job to fix all those things. You can't just hide behind the fact you have some fucking disease. Like, you have to fix it. You have an answer now, so it makes things easier for you in your future and in your life to fix that stuff, but you have it. And like, at minimum, I destroyed my mother's daughter's body. I have a selfish, relentless human disease, and I will always view it that way. I wrote this down, but I still made every decision in all caps. I was present. I was my body. I made every decision associated with my alcoholism. And yes, and I don't know how to say this without sounding bad. I don't want to hurt anyone through this, and I don't want you to be hard on yourself or view yourself differently through it. There's just a way that we treat ourselves and a way that we see ourselves and where we can love ourselves, but know that we still made every decision. Your disease did not make that decision. You did make it. And it is your decision, and it is not part of you, and we grow away from it. But that's accountability, and that's like, it's important that we have that above all, no matter what, and responsibility, because that grants us freedom in our life, and that grants us freedom to trust ourselves and to move forward in a patient, kind, honest way, because we have accountability and we know that we made those mistakes. We know we made those decisions, but we can love ourselves because we know we never will again, and that was the hands of active alcoholism. And that, like, you know, like, we can feel bad for ourselves in different ways for having alcoholism, but not for that way. Maybe for the way we urine, the way it hurts, something like that, but not in selfishness, not in the way you behave. It's not fair. And like, you can't hide behind it. Sorry if I've hurt anyone's feelings for it. I just think that's been a big success for me in my sobriety. And then also during my day, what has helped is stopping and being like, am I happy? Literally, day in and day out, I've been doing it. And it has helped me so much because the answer often is yes. And I'm like, okay, oh, then I'm fine. Why am I being freaked out about this, you know? Or like, why am I being wigged out? Or am I happy? The other day, the answer was no. So I stopped what I was doing and I did something else. I know. I literally left my house and went and had fun because I was like, what the fuck? Life is not that serious. If I'm not happy, I need to change something. Oh my God. Hey. What was that? Actually, what was that? Hey, I'm back. Sorry. I look a little different now. Camera died, of course. What the fuck? But we'll get right back into where we were. Let me see. Okay, so one thing I have been doing, like I said, is stopping and asking, am I cool right now? Am I cool right now? And that's really what the underlying thing is. Because yes, happiness. But like, am I doing what I want to do? Like, am I cool doing this right now? Or is there this angst / anxiety inside of me that is going to claw its way out if I don't do something about this, essentially? And it is that deep. You know, it's like childish, but things do go to that deep, at least for myself. So, you know, and if the answer is no, then I gotta switch that shit up, period. And that has been helping me consciously a lot recently. And I talked about it during the 4-week plan, but if you weren't here for it and you missed part of it, a huge part of healing and of sobriety is consciousness and being in your brain and conscious for everything that you do. And like, knowing what you're putting out into the world and what's being taken inside, and just like straight up consciousness is very important for healing and for selflessness and for humility and for peace and for serenity. Who the fuck am I, Gandhi? Like, of course you know this, unless you weren't watching, which would be really rude. Would be really fucking, I'm kidding. I'm on one now. I went to the pool and I got dressed for work. So like, you know, I'm just on one. I'm on one. So kind of hand in hand with that, I got the piece of hair that was in my mouth. I'm just sitting here trying to grab hair out of my mouth. I'm like on a podcast right now. There is a difference in life and you not enjoying work or not enjoying things. There are a lot of things we have to do in life that don't bring us joy. And it is simple as that. Those type of things I enjoy for the marker of understanding my normalcy when it comes to like human things. Because now I have to do really boring shit. Like, oh, only adults do that type of shit. Like, only somebody who has their priorities in order, yada, yada, do that type of shit, which is me now, you know? And I think it's important. We got to stay humbled, you know? We don't get to have too much fun in this life. It comes with responsibility, and we learn here. I'm not sure what we learn, but maybe responsibility has something to do with that. And doing things you don't like to do, stupid human things that don't make sense at all. They teach us things, and they teach us a lot. And that's why I love those like alien podcast guys. And they're like, dude, have you tried the Zorp notch? Or like humans use their Instagram to get likes and stare at themselves and fake pictures that they get. Like, it's just funny. And that's how I like to look at things, kind of. It's from that perspective of like, how actually dumb is this that I like opinion I'm having or thought I'm having or my life, right? Compared to like my life on how I treat the internet, like all types of shit. It's just like, how stupid do I sound right now on a scale of 1 to 10? Because I can get Zorp real quick. Like I can be that human who's navigating my life based on Instagram, like sir picture or whatever. Like that could be me. I can Zorp it the fuck out. And did any of that make sense to you guys? But something similar that goes along with that. I'm sorry. I just don't want to go to work either. Something that goes wrong with that. Along with that is like thinking, am I rushing? Okay, so like during my day, I've had to slow it down because I realized the point of my day is to get done with it. That was loud. To get done with that shit and go the fuck to sleep. Something's going on. And I have the ability to change all of these things. And like I said, there's a balance. And that's also part of the balance that I talk about, is what I was trying to illustrate, is the balance of life and responsibility, and then us and choosing us and having fun and peace and all of that shit, and balancing the two of those. And there are days where we check off the list and that is what it is, but that's not what the day is intended for. Like, I just can't wait for this all to be over is not a thought I want to be having, because like I have to tell myself all the time that my main goal is not productivity. Consciously all the time. The reason I'm alive, the reason that I woke up today is not productivity. Yes. Do I care about my future? And that's something that I choose to have in my life. I choose day in, day out to have responsibility over the podcast or over something. Yes. Do I have to? No. And the line gets blurred with moi very quickly. Just like how I take things I love and I turn them into work and then turn them into this, turn them into that. Recovery, the podcast, when I had my breakdown. I'm acting like that wasn't a week ago. When I had that breakdown 3 years ago. She was crazy back then. Those are all examples. And then I feel like that also loops back into an illustration of me building my own world, or us building our own worlds. Like, we take the things that we want from all of these areas, how we match into society, what we want to keep. I keep success. I keep finances. There are certain things that I will stay tied to human-wise forever. And then the freedom and not having to choose that shit. And I forget that I have that sometimes. I don't have to meet every mark. I don't have to please anyone. Like, I have to help people and I have to be there for people and open and all that shit. I don't owe anyone shit with my time and my obligations, like, in my life. And I don't know. I get all of that shit mixed up, and I have to be conscious in my brain of like, what am I striving for today? And it's different day in and day out. Some days I don't have it in me, so I might as well just be fucking productive the whole day if I'm already upset. Like, and that I kind of can get behind. I have that sometimes where like, if I'm just feeling raunchy as fuck and I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to work all fucking day, and I'll like work at my normal job at night and then be here doing shit for like hours and hours and hours on end, because it's just, that's how the day went. Or another day, like I said, somebody hits me up and I'm like, fuck this. We out, homies. Why do I keep doing this? No gang affiliation here. If that's not clear by the Roxy sweatshirt. But I get to choose the rest of what my life looks like. I get to choose all of these things. Even if I don't want to care about finances. I'm someone that's suited like that. There are many people who that's not their main thing, And I think that's not what this episode's about. And what pulled me out? Well, I discussed 90% of the things that pulled me out. But the moment, aside from honestly crying, hearing the way I got it out and knowing that it was going to be uploaded to the internet and that I had already filmed and there wasn't a choice in it, and that like, that got my ass in gear. Because it's just like me sitting, listening to myself edit and be like, you're crazy. Like, it's very easy to see that when you record yourself doing it. It's like, okay, I'm out of this. But what did help me, of course, like always, somebody said something in a meeting. The next day, what I do, took my little pretty ass to a meeting, and what was said, something directly that should have been said, that could have been said directly to me walking around in my house or something. Did that make sense? Something suited for me, directed towards me. And that is how recovery works. And you know what? Me crying, you know what I needed? Another meeting to journal There's a lot, and I'm not blaming her whatsoever, but it just goes to show like the cycle of it and that it's just that simple. And it brings me a lot of pleasure to know that a week later I was down so bad, but all it takes, like the realigning of it, I'm fine now. I thought it was going to be like torturous kind of getting out of that phase. And it is that simple, like the simplicity of the cycle of recovery and how much easier it is on your emotions than you think it will be to like get out of those holes at times. And like, it's been a week and a half or whatever. And I'm fine. Like I still have check-ins and I have lingering thoughts, of course. Like I'm not writing off all the emotions I had. Some of those are lasting for years. Some of those are very long term. But just like the main issue that I had was the urge to drink, because I don't have that. And I prayed for that, to not have that for a long time. And that scared me. Like the romanticizing really more so than I would classify it as urges, more so romanticizing, which is not good either. But yeah. And it only took me like a week of just, keep coming back. It works when you work it, is what they say. And that's very real. And just going to meetings simply, of course, pulled me out of it. And then I also thought about, I was really angry when I filmed that, when I edited it too, nearly. And before that, for a few weeks, we all know the vape, babes. We know, we get it, vape. I have been very angry for that little bit of time. Like, not angry at everything, but snap anger, which I don't like. I do not like the feeling of anger. I've talked about it. It ostracized me. It is the most alienating emotion I think we face as humans, I think. And I was really upset and I just did not like the anger. I'd rather be sad than angry. That's the type of person that I am. And maybe that's because I am anger, and anger lives in me in a different way than it does a lot of people. And so that's maybe why you don't side with that. If you aren't aware, I basically had anger issues all my life, and they pop up sometimes. It is what it is. And I can't blame myself for that. I say that all the time. And the reason I say that is because I want you to hear it. I don't want you to take that the wrong way. When I say I can't blame myself, it's because you can't blame yourself either. And I want you to understand that is genuinely how I talk to myself, because we don't get shit done in this recovery game if we do blame ourselves. And that's why I audibly say it all the time. But I thought about how bad my anger was in active addiction and active alcoholism, and how just gut-wrenchingly awful. Like, it disgusts me to even think about it. And like that pain from that anger. And it just all connected in one moment. I was like, oh my God, I can never go back to that again, to experience like that type of anger towards life and towards everything. Like, I'm going to have my moments. I'm going to be angry. Like, I have anger issues. Like, like not really now, not now necessarily, but in my life, and I'll go through cycles. But for that to be my day in, waking, breathing, living life, absolutely like sickens me to my core. And I do feel really bad for her, for that girl. And it helped me in that moment just to like recognize my anger and be like, oh God, it's always anger. It's always anger that gets me down and alienates me. And so many things can't blind me from my sobriety, and like so many emotions, different things. It's like, well, that doesn't change the way I feel about my alcoholism. That doesn't change the way I feel about my sobriety. It doesn't push me closer to a drink. It's just a human emotion. Anger, though, does. And I say that because remember that we talked about anger, and we talked about how it's blind, and that it is the closest that we are drunk naturally, because it's just like, it's inebriated, like you're inebriated with anger, and it's just the closest out of control feeling. And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And those two like link together in a weird way. Go watch the episode if you want me to talk about it. But that really helped. And then as I was reviewing, I was counting what I was doing wrong during this time period. And this time period, like it wasn't a week ago, the number was high. It was high. And I was like, wow, less me. That's simply what all of this equates to. Less me. I am thinking of myself too much. Under no circumstances thinking of yourself too much good, And like, I'm thinking of myself and my life entirely too much. Maybe these problems wouldn't even exist if I didn't think that much about it. Like, that's me. That's my own doing. And like, it's just that circle of like, keep working. You have so many things wrong with you, like, and you will never not. And it's a beautiful thing, because we don't feel bad for ourselves either. It's like a beautiful like motivation, I think, in a way, because it shows me like, I'm like, I do all this work. I've done all this work. Yeah, you done all that work and you got a badass attitude to show for it. you better hop back on that shit right now, girl. And that's exactly how I feel about it. And for me, that really helped because it's just like laying it out and just being like, girl, you're in a deficit. Sorry, ma'am, on paper, this looks like it's mostly your fault. Maybe you should like get a fucking grip. And I don't know, just talking to myself in those ways helps. And I don't know if that goes for everyone because I don't know how debilitating you are towards yourself. But I feel okay giving that advice considering how much I demolish myself. And y'all have seen me do that. And we've grown out of the judgment. We've grown all of that shit. So I'm on the pretty far end for beating myself up. And sometimes, you know, it just takes a little bit of humbling. And it just like loops back. It's like the ego, like all that selfish, nasty shit that my alcoholism comes from. And I'm just a girl. There's so much to fix and I'm just a girl and that's fine. That helps me relax because it's like you bite off so much all the time, girl. Like just keep trucking in the right direction. You don't have to get a million things done a day though. And it always loops back also to the progress, not perfection. And that saves me time and time again. I've been saying that to myself since the day I started feeling better from all of this shit, just because it's like, I just get in that loop and it's toxic and it's just like, you know, progress is like this in sobriety. I wrote down too, which this is such an epitome of that freak out, is that essentially my sobriety, this is an example of my sobriety surviving girl rage. And that is so real. That is, my period wasn't even barely, was my period affiliated? Alleged. I think period was affiliated with this. So it's just like that girl rage and like, you know, but like to the next level and things are dramatic sometimes, but I don't care and I will not apologize for it. Kiss my ass. Anyways, I gotta get to work. Do you guys like discussing my problems with me? I'm trusting you. I'm looking at you and I'm excited to go to work because I get to hit my vape. Sorry. I really want to hit it. Love you. Have a great week. Bye.